Whatever the occasion, effortless elegance is right this way. Because Hilton brings you new ways to stay courtesy of the Nomad London. And it doesn't stop at award-winning dining in a space draped in velvet and illuminated by vintage chandeliers. No, this day goes beyond with unparalleled personalized service and attentive hospitality. Oh, and did we mention the Nomad London can be booked using your Hilton Honors points at Hilton.com? Hilton, for the stay.
All right. This is No Cap with Night God. In spite of my recent banning from TikTok, to me it was a wrongful ban. I'm working on getting my account back. If anybody knows of any avenue or way of getting it back, or knows somebody that maybe works at TikTok, any help would be greatly appreciated. I guess I'll go through and kind of explain why or what happened that led to the ban. So my first community guidelines violations are the charade of them, I guess, started in early July, right after the 4th. I literally just shot off a firework in my backyard. Man, I had been watching firework videos on TikTok all the 4th. In one of them, they were shooting Roman candles at each other. But they flagged me on mine, which was just a regular, shoot off the ground and go boom, firework for dangerous activity. So, okay, I kind of tried it lightly, and I thought I was fine. I posted a couple videos on the Bucegi Mountain Secrets, the caverns within the Bucegi Mountains that were discovered by the Pentagon in 2002. Started talking about that and the tunnels leading to it, the energy shields, and all the holographic images and stuff presented. And then started sharing the source on the post, because a lot of people had been complaining, no source, no proof, it's fake, it's not true. So I was like, well, what's the worst that could happen? I mean, can't imagine they're going to steal my content, and really do much with it. So I just started posting it to see what people would say, how they'd react. So I started commenting the source, hiddenfromhumanity.com. And I did that probably 4 or 5 times, and eventually got a notification from TikTok violating the comment, which was hiddenfromhumanity.com. That was literally it. That was the only comment that I made on that particular, the only thing I said in that particular comment. So they violated that, which was kind of weird to me. Why violate it if it's not true anyway? I mean, if it's just a fairy tale, well, what's the big deal? So that kind of gave me the thought that maybe there's a little more truth to it than I realized. So they violated me for that. And then not even probably a week later, maybe 3 or 4 days later, I shared and duetted a video, the one that was going around viral, of the 2 girls on a bench swing, kind of swinging over the side of a deep or a steep hill, maybe, or mountain. It wasn't quite a mountain though, it was a hill, but it was really steep. And the chain broke and they flew over the side of it. So I guess the video that I duetted was a stitch by a whole nother creator. So at the end of the day, I don't understand why I got violated for graphic and, dangerous content. I don't know. It was graphic, supposedly. I got violated. The original guy who stitched the video did not, miraculously, and is still creating today. So after that, they sent me a notification stating that I couldn't post for 24 hours. And there was something telling me at that moment that I should delete my account. I imagine that the reason I say that is because I imagine that being some sort of defense to actually getting banned. How can they ban a deleted account? It just sucks because if I delete my account, then I got to reinstate myself in the creator fund and reinstate myself in the creator marketplace. But really, I mean, and they have to approve it. So they don't like when you delete your account. In the beginning, when I first started creating, I would delete it all the time and reset the algorithm so I could get a fresh set of eyes, or like if I was getting maybe minorly shadow banned, it would reset the shadow ban. But yeah, as a creator now, I delete my account. It can reinstate as long as I re-log in within 30 days. I wish I would have tried that. Next time I may, because I had a feeling, but I mean, when they give you a 24-hour ban of posting on some just straight up, just out of left field violations, I didn't think they would just, I think I literally went like took a shower or something, came back out and looked at my phone, and I was banned. So I don't know. It's stressful. It sucks because it's my main avenue of traffic. That's how I get a lot of my subscribers on YouTube. I guess it's just the name of the game on the content I'm sharing. I don't know. It's rough though, because I had 1.7 million followers, put a lot of work and time into it for it just to be ripped out of my hands in a matter of seconds. But I've been hearing and reading, doing some reading online, that they're having an issue with spam reporting going on, or bots that got out of hand and started spam reporting. Because I truly don't believe I was banned by an individual. For some reason, it did not feel as though I was banned by an individual. It just felt very generic. And as soon as I reported or appealed my decision, or appealed their decision, I wrote a long letter explaining what was going on. As soon as I did that, I mean, it wasn't 30 seconds later that I got a decision on that appeal. Like, they didn't even read it. So it almost tells me that maybe it was a bot, because a bot would be able to read it in a matter of seconds. But what do you say to a bot that's going to be any type of, emotion involved, or, any type of intellect or feeling? They're just going to look for trigger words and then ban you. What type of trigger words? I'd have no idea what you'd say to a bot that would not get you banned. I also think it's maybe a way of just slowing down creators that are going, hella viral at the time. And I don't know. They just did the same thing to Joe Gillespie. He got banned for less than, I remember watching his account, maybe 5 days. And he eventually got it back. And when he got it back, he wasn't getting shit for views. Because obviously when people go to your account and they see you've been banned, they quit going back to your account. So it's rough. I'm going to keep my head down, keep chugging as long as I can. It's just hard when, on YouTube I only got 5,000 subscribers, and Instagram I only got 2. So I don't know. Hopefully maybe my YouTube can make moves and or my podcast. I'd really love it if my podcast would take off. I'd kill for at least 1,000 views on one podcast. And I was heading that. What's demoralizing is I was heading in that direction. I felt a new vibe, if you will, on TikTok, that I was getting to the next level. I was starting to feel like, I was kind of excelling fast, so, and obviously the type of content I share, they aren't super fond of, but most people don't believe the shit anyway, so if you do, you're a quack. What the hell, that's what they treat you, so what the hell does it matter? I mean, I don't know. So, but either way, I'm gonna keep sharing. I don't give a shit. I don't. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a story. Whether you deem it true or not, it's up to you. I feel it is. And honestly, I was going through some, talking to a fan or a buddy anyway, about this, and he started talking about some other stuff kind of on the same plane. He's actually an older gentleman, and started talking about, I'll explain later, the Bible. And I'm not usually a Bible guy, but I sat there and listened to him for a while, and I thought, a couple things triggered, and maybe later on I'll decide to share that, because a lot of people, they don't want to hear the Bible. They don't want to hear anything about it. When I talk about it, I'm going to be talking about it in a historical context, not trying to preach or trying to sway anybody to believe, just wildly interesting, some of the stuff he said and how it pertains to these stories here. So maybe when I come to that, I'll explain it a little better and see what you guys think. I don't want to scare anybody off, though, because I'm not trying to be a preacher or trying to push the Bible in any way, shape, or form. But as far as a historical text goes, the Bible is more accurate than people give it credit for. And it honestly blew my mind, what this old man was talking about. And he's pretty knowledgeable of the Bible. And he was talking about a place in the Bible that sounded just insanely like some of these caverns or projection rooms sounded like. And the coincidences seemed to be too real to ignore, So it kind of blew my mind for sure. And I don't really know what to think of it quite yet. I need to do a little more research on exactly what the Bible states this place is. But I put two and two together, and it absolutely blew my mind. Absolutely blew my mind. It just clicked all at once, and I was like, oh my God, this is insane. But a lot of people don't want to hear it or don't believe in it. So it's a tough line to tread. And truth be told, even the people that believe in it would really have a hard time with what I found out or figured out on my own, kind of. And I mean, obviously with these texts, and it was like it was just this order of events that it fell into place, and all of a sudden I was just like, bing, light went on, and holy shit, So I really want to share it with you guys, but I can't yet. But I am going to share and continue to read this document that I got, the hiddenfromhumanity.com document. So far we had found out the Pentagon used ground penetrating radar to discover these massive caverns into this one massive cavern in the Bucegi Mountains. And they had actually seen one in Iraq underground near Baghdad. And I had actually heard that Saddam Hussein was actually very close to discovering that, particular cavern, and a possible reason for the U.S. going to Baghdad had a little to do with this, not just oil. So go figure, go figure. But there's a lot of diplomatic tension right now. There's a lot of diplomatic tension going on at the moment between the U.S. and Romania and they're fighting. They're fighting about what they should do with the information that they have. They found this room that had holograms and this ancient text that would show you the history of mankind and the history of Earth. Massive tables and chairs that were built for people much taller than us. Crazy stuff, guys. It's crazy stuff. And they found this monoatomic gold. And that's supposed to make you live until you're 1,000 years old. So they found all kinds of wild stuff in there. And it was like groundbreaking. They figured the room was 50,000 years old. And that it was created, obviously, by a highly advanced being. I just had, right here. So that must be, no, that's the tunnel in the Sphinx, I'm pretty sure. I just wanted to show you guys something. Okay, no, the transversal section of the mountain room. I have pictures here laid out of what these rooms look like that I say they have discovered. So this is how it looks. It says, okay, you guys see that? Why is it always like that? Let me look on the film. You can't see it, can you? Why? I don't understand. So I guess you can't see it. I apologize. If you guys go check out, maybe I'll try and get it on the video or something like that. But if you guys want to, just follow along. Go to hiddenfromhumanity.com and start at the projection room PDF page. The page would be, it's the third section down. It breaks it down into sections. Diplomatic tensions was the second one, and then ground penetrating radar was the first. So we got through diplomatic tensions, and it's the projection room. So check it out. Follow along, because it is crazy stuff. And if it holds true, I definitely got some pretty crazy revelations to make to you guys, because holy shit, wild. Just got to do a little more research on the other end. So the projection room. All right, this is how they explain it. This is the actual spherical room that was being guarded. So here I have these excerpts are between, I want to say, an archaeologist and a General Caesar. So this is how everything went down. So it says, Caesar told me to step forward. The big gallery ended suddenly in a gigantic room inside the mountain. It was about 30 meters high and approximately 100 meters long. So that's significant. That's a pretty good size room. 100 meters is quite a ways. 300 feet and 90 feet tall. So, wow. Yeah. The projection room was practically enclosed by the energy shield. Had smaller dimensions than those of the mountain room. The energy shield was smaller. So there was a gap, an air gap between the top of the ceiling to the energy shield. It was only about 20 meters high, maybe a touch more. The energy shield's role was to divide the room like a wall for the rest of the cavity in the mountain, and also to protect from exterior or bad influences. Interesting. So maybe, somehow that mountain gets trashed or it gets, hit by a nuke or whatever. That energy shield's going to survive, I imagine, which is crazy. So it has only one way of unconditioned access, like a door right in front of you. So that door would be from the hall, which they said the halls were like marble, polished floor, brand new. They looked brand new, even though they were almost 50,000 years old. I saw a display of 3 huge tunnel entrances, one right in front and the other 2 symmetrically on each side. They were vaguely lit by a green light. From that distance, I could not clearly notice the details, although I saw other devices were around each of the 3 tunnels. Still, I noticed each of the tunnels were guarded by 2 soldiers like at the entrance in the big gallery. Puzzled, I turned toward Caesar. Do you install security systems here too? Why? Where do these tunnels go? This is the area to which you do not have access. This is strictly forbidden. though through the secret protocol signed by the Romanian state and the United States. So the tunnels were inaccessible, signed between the United States and Romania. I can give you some general information about this, but certain things have to remain a secret, at least for some time now. Let's start from here, Caesar said, pointing somewhere at my right. I turned and saw a huge line of T-shaped tables made of stone and lined up against the wall. Following its curve, none of these tablets were shorter than 2 meters high. Or tables, sorry, excuse me. None of these tables were shorter than 2 meters high. So you're talking 6 feet. The tabletop was as tall as just a lot of people. So it's quite high. So then now he starts talking about the transversal section of the mountain room. Different signs of an unknown writing that looked like ancient arrow-headed characters were cut three-dimensionally into the thickness of the tabletop. There was only one such line of signs on each table's width. The writing was complicated, but it also contained general symbols like triangles and circles. Although the signs were not painted, they would still be noticeable due to a slight luminous radiation. Interesting. Differently colored for each table. There were 5 tables on each side of the room. On some of them, I could see different objects of unknown use. They looked like technical tools for scientific use. Several white translucent wires descended from many of them, gathering in rectangular boxes situated outside the table and on the ground. The boxes were made of a shiny silver metal that could not be scratched. Interesting. I tried to move one of them, but it was well too anchored to the ground. The delicate cables were extremely flexible and light, and inside you could see small, bright impulses that would slide along their whole length. 2 of the tables were empty, covered by a thin layer of orange dust. Caesar told me they drew samples from it and that it had been sent for preliminary analysis to the lab inside the base, but they had not received any results. But the real surprise was the distinct element that made the research team give the name projection room to that huge mountain room. When I passed by a table, a holographic projection presenting aspects from a certain scientific domain was simultaneously activated on its surface. Cool. The 3-dimensionally colored images were perfect and very big, almost 2.5 meters high. Wow. So the holograms were, 7-8 feet tall. Crazy stuff. Because the tables were tall, I could not see where the source of the hologram projection was coming from. I found out from Caesar that the rectangular surface of the smooth stone table had a tight opening in the middle that was several centimeters long and parallel to the longest side of the table. The holographic projections appeared from there. Weird. The technology used was great, said Caesar. The projections appeared by themselves, but at the same time, they are interactive and depend on the one who watches them and touches the surface of the table. What? Wild. So depending on who it was, the hologram would actually, almost like AI, I went to a table that had some 3-legged steps brought by the base teams, and I went up a couple of steps until my body was above the table. It was almost 5 meters long and 1.5 meters wide. It was covered by a film made of a glass-like material, which was not transparent but dark. I could see my head and my body reflecting as in a mirror on the surface of that shiny, dark, and blue smoky film. The film was split into several big squares marked by straight horizontal and vertical lines that formed a kind of frame. The rays that formed the hologram went out the central slot in a perfectly coherent beam. Apparently, its domain was biology, as images of plants and animals scrolled in front of my eyes, some of them being totally unknown to me. I slightly touched one of the squares, which was the biggest, and the hologram began presenting me anatomical structure of the human body. Actually, I soon realized it was my body because of a certain mark I had on my arm. Although I was not moving, I saw the holographic images of certain areas of my body spinning continuously and being presented from different angles. If I had lifted the finger off that square, the images of plants and animals would reappear. If I moved the finger inside the square, the image would release the inside of my body, or would read the inside of my body, thus offering the projection of my internal organs. What? According to my finger's position on the surface of the square, I noticed that moving the finger in a certain way magnified the examined area. So a lot like our tablet technology, but way crazier. My amazement was boundless as I zoomed into extremely tiny dimensions passing over individual cells, their nucleus, and reaching the molecular area. I thought I was dreaming, but I really saw a molecule that was part of my own liver and was shown in a huge dimension. In a few moments, I had gone way beyond even the most dared dreams of the modern scientists. The image presented a kind of cloud of energy that changed its color continuously, probably because of energetic changes that took place in real time. But in its different points, I noticed a kind of condensation, linked by a kind of bridge that vibrated continuously. I thought that maybe those were the molecular chains. When I zoomed into the nuclear area, the image caught one of the atoms, but it became unstable and blocked. I then saw what I thought to be an atom as a vague energy mist with a very small bright center/heart. Amazed, I touched other squares. Each time I touched one, the square lit in orange, and signs of the unknown writing appeared inside of it. Excuse me. Fascinated, I went over several squares, watching the incredible projections of life on other celestial bodies. I noticed that if I simultaneously touched two surfaces of two different squares, the holographic image would render a very complex scientific analysis, presenting the DNA molecules of those beings and the compatible possibilities between them. The images were accompanied by sideways vertical lines of that strange writing, which were probably observations, comments, or indications regarding the analysis made. These were dynamic and presented in a series as the possible phases of mixing the two life forms. Wild. In the end, the most probable mutant form appeared as a combination of genetic data. I went downstairs shaking. My mind refused to think coherently. Strange thoughts appeared in my mind like I was being set up or everything was a dream. Realizing what was happening to me, Caesar gradually calmed down on my paranoid tendencies, or clammed down on my paranoid tendencies that had been triggered by the very strong shock I felt as a result of the advanced technology I had accessed in such a very short period of time. After a couple minutes, I recovered. "You can spend years here without getting bored," I exclaimed. "I cannot believe they reached such an advanced technological level. Who are they? You must know." When Caesar answered, he was very serious. "No matter how weird it would seem to you, we have no clue up to this moment. It is as if they wanted to leave us this invaluable treasure, but did not want us to know who they are. The only aspect we can suspect is that they were probably very tall. We cannot otherwise explain the gigantic dimensions of some objects in here. You can be proud, though, that you have been the first to thoroughly investigate the biology table for the last 50,000 years. I was impressed by the crossing method. It is interesting as our researchers have not found the method of simultaneously touching two squares yet." Nice. "It is also true that we had to do a lot of things in a very short period of time. In the end, there have been 5 or 6 days since we got into this room and only 3 days of actual studying. We went further on each side of the room halfway. There were 5 huge tables situated 7 meters away from the energy shield. I passed over each quickly as Caesar told me my presence there was limited. Besides, the fact that I was there was the result of a really special request of General Obadiah that even Caesar could not have made. There were 5 Romanians and 3 Americans in the projection room. The 3 giant tunnels behind the room were each guarded by a pair of soldiers, while 2 officers secured the overall surveillance of the room. The instruction is that they do not touch or move anything when they are alone," Caesar explained to me. "All right, but what are they protecting here? Better said, from whom?" I asked. "This is protocol. In addition, as I told you, there are some elements I cannot tell you, but they are linked to these secure measures." So what he's talking about there may be what I kind of cracked the code of, but I don't know for sure. We'll see. I continued my rapid investigations over each table. There were projections from physics, cosmology, astronomy, architecture, technology, religion, and a domain representing the characteristics of several races of intelligent beings that did not look entirely human. I quickly understood the information was so vast that many groups of researchers needed several years to study it continuously without fear of finishing it. Everything seemed to be a great library of the universe, brilliantly synthesized by an enigmatic civilization that was extremely advanced technically and spiritually. I then went towards the center